that vicious inner critic and inner drill sergeant in your head are not driving you forward. They're actually limiting your professional potential as well as your personal health and happiness. You have gotten here despite them, not because of them, and you actually can change your relationship with them and be even more effective than you currently are.
This is Unlawful. Welcome to Unlawful. As always, I'm Brandon Renken, and with me today is Jordana Confino. Good afternoon, Jordana.
Good afternoon, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. I feel like I'm saying this all the time because I'm making a concerted effort to do it, but you're another new person, right? I don't know you. I don't work with you. I don't live with you. I haven't known you since high school. We've had all of those people on Unlawful, but my most exciting ones are the brand new ones. And you're certainly a brand new person to me. So I'm really excited to have you on the show and talk to you a little bit.
Well, I'm honored to be invited into your circle. So thank you.
I don't know if it's an honor, but you are certainly welcome to it.
I thought you were going to say, we don't know if we're keeping you in the circle yet.
No.
This is your audition. Either way, thank you.
No, you're definitely in. You're definitely in. For starters, Jordana, tell me a little bit about what you do.
So I consider myself a recovering lawyer. And what I do now is help teach practicing lawyers and law students all of the things that I so desperately wish someone had told me much earlier about the relationship between well-being and professional success.
All right, so I'm really going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
What's the number one thing that you wish somebody had told you earlier about the connection between well-being and professional success?
Can I say two?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. One is that it is not the case that cultivating well-being and pursuing the maximum possible success are mutually exclusive. Actually, the science shows that cultivating your well-being is essential in order to perform at your highest possible level. And so lawyers who believe that they are self-sacrificing for the sake of their work and for the sake of success are actually doing themselves a huge disservice. That's a very broad point. We can go more deeply into it.
No, and I want to, but you said you had two, so that's number one. What's number
one?
two?
Oh my gosh. And truly, if I only had to do one, I think it would actually be this one. That vicious inner critic and inner drill sergeant in your head are not driving you forward. They're actually limiting your professional potential as well as your personal health and happiness. You have gotten here despite them, not because of them, and you actually can change your relationship with them and be even more effective than you currently are.
So those are two great things. And I want to talk about both of them because we talk about type A personalities, we talk about high achievers, whatever you want to do to describe, however you want to describe successful lawyers or successful law students for that matter. And for them, still, no matter what you say about the science or the technology or the studies or the research, no matter what you say about it, the concepts that you're making, the conclusions that you're espousing are going to seem so counterintuitive and even counterproductive that they're going to reject them out of hand, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's why, thank goodness, there is a whole robust area of science, positive psychology, with concrete data showing that this is the case, because otherwise there's no way I would have even opened my mind to accepting this. And I know that the same is true, like you said, for most people in the profession. These are very counterintuitive truths. And so we have to come armed with persuasive tactics in order to overcome them. And it's interesting.
Fast-moving river, right?
Exactly. And it's interesting because there's research on the happiness of lawyers. What they find is that lawyers who graduate from the top law schools actually have lower levels of well-being out. And I think it's because so many of them are eligible to keep getting to that next level, that next level, and that next level. And I agree with you. I think that the people who, hit their wall earlier, and it's like, oh, well, you can't get that shiny star, you might as well think about what you want to do and why. And I remember it was my 2L summer when I was working at a big law firm in litigation and was so unhappy. And I just remember looking around and being like, I'm miserable, but everyone around me is miserable. No one seems to care that they're miserable. That's not the reason that I first started seeing a therapist. The reason I first started seeing the therapist, though, was because my perfectionism was so high that I had literally crippling writing anxiety, and I had just committed to 2 years of judicial clerkships. So I was like, I need to find a way to get a hold on this anxiety or I'm going to die during my clerkships. One of the things that therapist had me do was a very basic values discovery exercise where look at a list of 100 values, identify the ones that are most important to me, and then think about how what I'm doing with my time, energy is furthering them. And what I realized is one, I was literally driving myself into the ground, devoting all of my time and energy to things that were not only not furthering, but actually contrary to my values. My top values are authenticity, love, and connection. And I was, like I told you, so lonely, physically hurt because I was blocking out every ounce of social connection, gunning to be a federal criminal prosecutor, even though I didn't enjoy working in an adversarial setting and really like being in a loving, nurturing environment. Makes no sense. The thing that was more jarring to me, though, was I realized that was the first time in my entire life, too well of law school, that I had ever stopped to consider what my values were in the first place, because it had never even seemed to be a relevant question, because I was so singularly focused on how do I get the thing I've decided that I wanted because it's been presented to me as the most prestigious option.
Right. Yeah, no, it's funny because you keep coming around. I promise I'm not a person who lives his life by just endless slogans, but a person I really respect, one of my mentors, asked me a couple years ago to define my life philosophy.
Yeah.
And the closest I can get to it, and I think you might have some insight into this, but the closest I can get to it is as follows, : you can't choose to be great, so choose to be good. And again, same as with perfection is the enemy of the good. When I tell people that, a lot of people who don't think like I do, which is maybe everybody, right? Not for better or worse, but just as a matter of fact, say, well, that's defeatist. You should be trying your best all the time. And it's like, no, that's not the point, right? The point is that if I have a decision to make, I should choose the decision that is consistent with my values, i.e., that is good. Yeah. Because I can't make myself great. Greatness or achieving greatness or doing something great is something that gets thrust upon you by others.
Yeah.
Right? And whether that happens or not is probably not up to me. And frankly, for almost everybody, you're never going to do anything that's not mundane, right? So why worry about it? And instead, worry about being highly integrous, I guess, which is consistent with your values. And then everything will truly be exactly as you want it to be. I work at a big law firm. And when I started, everybody stayed at their jobs, right? And the goal was to become partner. That's changed, right? People are moving all the time right now.
I think up until now, I think many law students and lawyers just expected that being unhappy is kind of what being successful looked like, and didn't even think that they could possibly be successful and also fulfilled and happy as well. It didn't even occur to me that I could find a job that I loved as opposed to a job that didn't kill me, which became the first goal once I burned out. And it was only once I started talking with people. Honestly, it was the people that I talked to outside of the big law environment, although I do really believe that there are people in the big law environment who love their jobs and love their work. I just think that there's disproportionately more people who don't and who are not there for that reason or tapped into whatever value is keeping them there, because I think there are a lot of values-based reasons to do that work, even if it's not your passion project. But it was only when I started talking to certain people outside of those roles that I realized, like, oh, I could find something that fuels me in that way. For me, it wasn't practicing law, or certainly not litigation. Again, I told you I pursued it for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
Now that I realize how it feels to love what I do and to see how that not only makes me feel good, but makes me, like, I was good at things that I didn't like doing. I was really good at things that I like doing. I'm so much better at the stuff that actually feels.